It's Tuesday, and I'm Stacy Hall, and it is a delight to be with you. I am a digital mentors coach and a community member, and I love to be able to share tips that have worked for me to be able to help you be able to connect more with your ideal audience and know what to say to them so that they want to say yes back to you. Today, we're talking about social media strategies that go way beyond just getting likes, because social media has gone way beyond just getting likes. That used to be, maybe a couple of years ago, the be all end all goal for social media is how many people are liking and following us. And because of that, there were lots of strategies that were created just to get people to like and follow us. And that would make logical sense that we would want the more people that do, the more people will say yes to us. But I can promise you that there are many, many influencers with large numbers of likes and followers who actually make less actual money than I do with far fewer likes and followers. Because all of my likes and followers, who I like to say are friends because I know them, I literally know at every one of the people who are my friends on Facebook, and I've got close to 5,000. I know everyone who follows me on Instagram. I know every one of the 10,000 people that I'm connected to on LinkedIn. Now, it didn't happen in 30 days. It's happened over a few years. But I know them because I take the time to make sure they're people who want to receive my content. I don't just send out friend requests and anybody who accepts it go, oh, goody, they're here to see my content, because they're not. Because if you don't know, on Facebook, the algorithm is set that the only people who will likely see your posts in the newsfeed are people who have interacted with you already or people you've interacted with on their page. And when I say who are likely to see it, let's take this into consideration. A small percentage of our friends are ever shown our posts in the newsfeed. It doesn't go out to all of our friends. And I think a lot of people think it does. That's why they still keep trying to rack up lots and lots and lots of people to follow them. But Facebook says, no, we've got billions of people. We can't show your post to every one of your friends. So the algorithm works on kind of a sliding scale up or down. And it determines what percentage of your friends are going to see your posts in the newsfeed based upon what percentage of your friends are actually commenting and responding to your posts previously. So a small fraction. And then let's remember the post goes out, right? Your friends have to actually be on Facebook at that time to see that post. Wow. So now Facebook is incentivizing us, and Instagram along with it, to only connect with people who want to connect with you and respond, react, comment to your content, to your reels, to your posts, to your stories. That's what the social media platforms are designed for. Now, TikTok is different. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not on TikTok. But I can tell you that I have lots of clients who are, and yes, they can rack up thousands, if not millions of views of their videos. That doesn't mean that's turning into sales. Again, I have clients who have far larger audiences than I do, and I make more sales than they do. Now, how could that be? Well, that's what I want to share with you. How that can be is that I'm very, very picky about who I accept as a connection or as a friend, and who I send a connection or a friend request to. So I'm going to ask you, how picky are you? And the way I am able to be picky is I'm very, very clear who is likely to want to respond to what messages I put out in the world. So my audience are primarily women entrepreneurs. It doesn't mean I don't have guys who are clients. And I know that primarily more women entrepreneurs who have been struggling for a while to get leads and sales. But more than that, they have a message they want to monetize, meaning they don't just want to sell someone else's products. They want to figure out how to monetize their own message. So guess what I talk about? My content is all about getting them back into themselves, figuring out who they are, what their message is, who would be likely to be interested in that, and all the different ways that it can be monetized. That's what I talk about. So when I get a friend request from someone, the first thing that I do is I go to their profile page and I look to see what they're up to. If they're just reposting other people's stuff, that tells me, and you could say, Stacy, you're too quick to judge. You know what? There's billions of people. I'm going to be quick to judge because I'm focused on the people who are likely to communicate with me. So if these are folks who are constantly reposting other people's content, that tells me they don't want to share their own message. They don't have a message to share. They don't know what their message to share is. And my perfect audience, my ideal audience, already knows what they want to say. They're just not quite sure where to say it and how to make money for it. So hopefully this is making sense, how I'm really focusing in on who my audience is. Okay. I also look to see if they are putting out their own content, is anybody paying attention? Because if they're putting out original content and nobody is liking and reacting to it, I know I can help that person right away be able to get more engagement. So turning it back to you, do you know who your ideal audience is really clearly? So that when somebody sends you a friend request, because right now I'm talking about inbound, you could go to their page and look to see quickly, do they match what you're looking for? Because if they don't, do not accept that friend request, because for every friend request you accept where the person does not engage with your content, it's penalizing you from getting your message out to people who do want to engage, do want to see what you're sharing. I will also tell you that if I get a friend request from somebody who has not reacted to a post of mine or commented on a post of mine, I don't accept it either. I know that that's somebody who's still trying to rack up numbers of people. They have no interest in my content. If Facebook must have just suggested them, they went click, send friend request. Nah, no. You have to really want to know what I'm all about. You have to have commented. You have to have hopefully sent me a private message in order for me to accept your friend request. Now, let's switch the tables. Who do I send friend requests to? Well, I'm looking in groups of people where my audience is likely to be hanging out. So the good news is that since my audience generally is women entrepreneurs, there are hundreds of large Facebook groups and thousands upon thousands of people following the hashtag women entrepreneurs on other sites. The world is my oyster, as they say. I have no shortage of people I could send a friend request to or a connection request. So that can be kind of overwhelming for some people. They're like, I don't know where to start. And I get that. It can be overwhelming. Not having enough, disappointing, having way too much to choose from can be overwhelming. But not if you know who your ideal audience is. So when I'm going into groups of women entrepreneurs, I'm actually looking for who is putting their messages out to the world in that group. I want to see who's got a mouth on them, so to speak. Who's creating original content? Those are the people I'm going to send friend requests to. And I'm going to say, hey, I saw your post in such and such group. Fascinated by what you're up to. And I am also going to go to their personal page and see what else they posted on. And I'm going to comment on one of their personal posts. And in this message that I'm sending with my friend request, I'm going to tell them where I found them and what I enjoyed about their content. You might say to me, but Stacy, they're probably going to pitch you. And I'm going to say to you, I sure hope they do. It's exactly what I want. I want somebody for my audience. Maybe you don't for your audience, but for my audience, I want somebody who's passionate about what they're up to. And I'm going to respond with, I'm so glad that you're passionate about what you do. That's fabulous. And I'd love to know more about how you got involved in that. Just so you know, I'm really passionate about what I'm up to too. And I share with them what I'm up to because they opened the door for me to do that. Now, in a lot of cases, folks won't respond because they don't know. They're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. And in other cases, they're responding back like, wow, I'd love to know more about what you're doing and how you got involved. So let's get on a call and explore. Let's see what possibilities there are for the two of us. Usually, that turns into a client conversation. So, I'm counting on the fact that you're doing these kinds of activities rather than just going for likes on your posts. Because if you can work out ahead of time who your audience is and the fact that they are going to be interested in your content, now you're going to have people who actually react and comment on your posts. Great for the algorithms, great for you, because now you can continue the conversations. Now you can start getting these folks on your email list. One of my favorite ways to do that, I'm going to say my first favorite way, and then I have a second, almost as good way, is to create a group of our own. Remember, very few of our posts get shown to our friends. So I can take the same things that I'm posting on my personal page and I can put them in a group. Same stuff. So when somebody chooses to accept my friend request or I choose to accept theirs, I say, since you love what I post about on my personal page, you may enjoy what I post about in my group. Would you like access? And I'm going to say above 90% people say yes. Well, I have 3 questions they have to answer to get inside my group. I want to know, why are you interested in the content I'm putting in the group? What problems do you have related to the content? Not meaning what problems do you have with my content, but what problems do you have that my solutions could help? And number 3, what is your email address? Because I have extra tips that I send out. Now they have to answer all 3 to get into the group. I now have their email address. So if anything happens to my social platforms, I'm still in communication with them. And I do sometimes same content that I put on my personal page that I then put into my group, I will also put out in my emails. Because even though they're in the group and even though they get notified that I posted, not everybody goes to the group to engage. But they're getting a reminder that I posted in the group. And if they missed it in those 2 places, they have a third opportunity to catch my content in my emails. Are you doing that? Are you going into this idea of bringing people into a group so you can capture their emails and have more engagement? Now, as I said, almost as good. Some people would tell me, I know they would, that this is better than a group. I don't agree. And I'm going to tell you why, but it's almost as good. Is when you have a lead magnet, something for free that you can offer in your posts, in your reels, in your lives, on your social content. So it could be a cheat sheet. It could be a full ebook. It could be a study. It could be a video that you recorded or a replay of a webinar. Anything you're willing to make available for free. So if you write some content to go along with why you're offering it to people who may be interested in it, people will ask you for it. And if you've put it into a sales page funnel, you can capture people's email that way because they have to put it in order to get it out. It's kind of like a gumball machine. You put in the money, the gumball comes out. You put in your email, the lead magnet comes out. Or if you don't want to do a sales page funnel, you can have people send you a private message, a direct message, and give you their email that way, and then you can manually send it out. You'll still have the email and the permission to have the email, and then you can put it in your email list. So here's why I say that's almost as good as a group. One, it's just one time. They ask for it, you send it, that's it. There's no real constant reminders unless you're constantly sending out emails. Versus if you bring them into a Facebook group, every time you post in the Facebook group, they're also getting notifications in the upper right-hand corner of Facebook that you just posted, and they're getting the information via the email. So it's one more step. Plus, you can put the lead magnet into the group and tell people if they want it, go request to join the group. And now you don't have to create a full sales page and funnel if you don't want to. And for folks who really don't want to deal with all the techie stuff, that is a simpler, easier way to be able to deliver what they want and you get what you want, which is their email address and commitment to be able to stay in touch with them. So that's why I say it's a almost as good way. And it just ties everything back together. And the more that we offer freebies, the more people will actually comment. So if we say drop an emoji and I will get it over to you, or say a particular word and let me know that you'd like this, or tell me why this would be of interest to you, people are going to respond. And you're going to get more than likes. You're going to get comments. Too often, I see folks putting out content that is more preachy. Okay, we'll deal with pushy and promoting in a moment. But let's say it's inspirational, but it comes across as preachy. There's no question. There's nothing for people to respond to. So they might get a ton of likes or hearts, but they're not getting those comments back and they wonder why. It's because we're doing one-way communication. What we want to do is two-way. We want to set up a two-way conversation. And the only way we can do that is by asking questions. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to head over to the Digital Mentors community. And I want to know, every time you post, do you ask a question to let people know you're setting up two-way conversations? So let me head on over there. And we're going to see. Okay, I'm seeing some comments. All right. Hey, Brian. Hey, Desmel. Bridging the gap from my old personal content to new content that is more in line with my business has been tricky. All of this is so helpful. I am so pleased to hear that. So I'm just going to drop a question here so everybody knows. It's like, do you always ask a question for your audience to answer when you post? Okay. Hello, Dee Dee. Good to see you. So, Dee Dee, do you always ask a question? Let me know. Do you always ask a question when you post so that people know that you are open to conversation? I'm going to keep the glasses on. Oh, Cecilia, I'm so glad. What are you loving about it? And Desmel says, not always, but that's what I'm saying. This is, you want to go beyond the likes. You want people to actually get to know you, enjoy you. Then you got to ask the questions. And Dee Dee, I know she does, since I've set her up because I knew she does. I see her questions all the time. And I love the fact that she's very personable. See, the other thing about asking questions is we become personable, a human being, not a billboard. Okay. Hey, Terry Landreth, and do ask a question sometimes. I'm saying every time. You want to increase your exposure. You want to increase your following. You want to have more people wanting to come back and check your stuff out. Gotta ask the questions. Gotta. I'm just saying, gotta. Because it feels to them like you're actually there. When we ask questions in our posts, and then we check back and we respond to their comments, their answers, they feel like they're in relationship with us. As opposed to, we make a statement and they feel like they're sitting in desks back in school listening to the teacher. They're less than, we're more than. It's not an equal relationship. Makes sense, right? Drop an X if this makes sense. So I'll ask far more questions from now on. Cecilia says, cool. Yeah. Hold on, I'm just writing in a little comment here. Okay. So does anybody, I'm going to keep on going. And in the meantime, I'm going to give you some time. Feel free to ask me any questions you have about social media marketing. Desmond, thank you, Desmond. Says so much sense. Cool. Yeah, it's just logical. See, our communication as marketers, and we're marketers before we're salespeople. When we're entrepreneurs, we are marketers before we are salespeople. Marketing comes before sales. And what's bizarre is that it's always talked about sales and marketing. No, you do that, you miss out on the building your audience, right? Engaging your audience and then selling to your audience. You miss out on people getting to know us, like us, and trust us. And trust has to be present for us to make any offers. So it isn't sales and marketing, it's marketing and sales. Repeat after me. Marketing and sales. If somebody would drop that in the comments, I'd really appreciate it. And by the way, if you've got team members who are hanging out right now, send them on over to take a watch if you can. All right. So we're doing marketing, then sales. Always remember that. And when we're entrepreneurs, we're doing both. We've got two hats, and they don't stack on top of each other. One time we're a marketer, and then after that, we're a salesperson. A marketer opens the door. That's our job. Opens the door. Thanks, gang. Really appreciate you adding that. Marketing, then sales. Marketing opens the door. Marketing is how we build the relationship. Marketing is the content we put out on social, any social platform. That's marketing. Okay? And I want you to hear something. Advertising is only a small portion of marketing. But unfortunately, companies, for which many of us are reps, they want us to do 100% advertising. Here's the pretty pictures of the products. Go share them. Why? Because it gives the company exposure. Doesn't give us exposure, gives the company exposure. Now, does this make sense? Drop me an X. If the Terry says marketing and sales, yes, okay. As entrepreneurs, advertising has to be this small. Not saying not at all, this small. If we want people to follow our content, then most of our content has to be informational, educational, entertaining. They want us to make them laugh. They want us to make them feel an emotion. They want us to explain. They want us to show we care about their concerns and their problems. Advertising doesn't do that. Advertising, when we're showing the product, that's what advertising is. I'm advertising this product, okay? Puts us in the mode of being a pitch person, a spokesperson for a product. Even if it's our own course, our own workshop. Making sense? Let me know. How are you feeling about this? Okay? When we do an advertisement for something, I had an event last night. I did a lot of advertising for it in the few days leading up to it. And when I say advertising, I was promoting the banner for it. I was telling people what the event was all about. I was being a pitch person for my event. It doesn't happen that often that I'm a pitch person. It was a huge event and it was time for me to come out. So in relationship to the rest of the content that I'm sharing, usually, it was in the right proportion. But how other people will do it is they will post multiple times a day and every day put a pitch out there. So if that happens to be the post that our friends happen to see over and over again, pitch, 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 add, they're saying there's nothing here for me to engage in. Either they've already bought the product or they don't intend to buy the product. That's where it's at. Versus all the people who would love to be entertained, educated, informed, inspired, who would come back and stick around for that, who then might eventually say, you know what, I really love Dee Dee. I really love Cecilia. I really love Terry. I really love Dismel. I really love Brian. And if they like this product, maybe I'll take a look at it too. So that's how true content becomes a marketing tool for building relationship. True content. And true content that asks people questions. So I keep asking, I know maybe you guys are driving or whatever, but please tell me, or maybe you're writing posts right now while you're listening to me. I'd love to know what you're feeling and what you're hearing and what I'm saying. Would you share that with me? What are you taking away? What's been most valuable for you out of this time together? Okay, so please limit your ads to no more than 20% of your overall content. And then selling. Different from marketing. Different hat. Completely different. Selling doesn't happen through posts. I want you to hear that. Selling doesn't happen through posts. Not unless the person is already a customer or a client. Then, yeah, you could put something out and they might go, oh, yeah, I wanted that. And they'll grab it because they already are a customer or a client. But for newbies, doesn't happen through an ad. And if it does, I'll just say there's one way that it could. And that is they see your ad and they know someone else who's selling it that they know better and they go over there and they buy it from that person. That does happen. So if we want to keep them with us and buying from us, then what happens is when we offer our lead magnet or we're asking a question and they're responding, we can take the conversation private to a private message, a direct message. And we can ask the question, may I ask you why this was of interest to you? I saw you commented. I love your comment. Well, why was this of interest to you in the first place? They're going to tell you. They're going to tell you what they want to learn more of. So for right now, I could practice and say to all of you watching me, why was this topic going beyond likes, giving you more social media strategies? Why was this of interest to you to watch today and engage with me? I would love to know that. So Cecilia is saying, I want my audience to be curious and then discover what I'm offering. Exactly. Daismel says she's taking away asking questions. And Dee Dee says, oh, oh, well, thank you for telling me I look great today. And actually, I took a little extra time today. I will say, Dee Dee, I was up early. It is very hot here. And to get the dogs in for a 2-mile walk. So I will just tell you, if you saw me a half an hour ago, not so great. So a little extra time. So thanks for the kudos. I'll take them. But please, I would love to know from all of you, why was this topic of interest to you in the first place? Because when I post this, and I do post the replay, and people are going to comment on it, that's exactly what I'm going to ask them. In a private message, I'm going to say, I saw you commented. Thank you for letting me know it was of value to you. Why was it of interest to you to watch in the first place? And they're going to tell me. I'm not marketing now. I am not marketing now. I am being a human being now. Marketing was the post. Now I'm getting prepared to start making offers, but not immediately. And if they respond back to me and they tell me what it is that was of interest to them and why, I can now start to offer more tips than what I shared in this session today. I can say, oh, if that's your interest, I've got a few more tips I'd be happy to share with you privately. Happy to share with you privately. Would you like to jump on a quick call now? And they might say to me, no, I can't really do it now. And I would write back and say, well, if you'd like for me to share those tips, if they'd be helpful to you, let me know when would be a good time. I can do it in 15 minutes or less. They might say to me, I'll let you know. And in which case I know they're not all that interested. And I move on. I don't keep pushing. Because if I keep pushing, then they know that I'm no longer being a human being. I'm now being a marketer. I want them to feel that I cared about what they said, not that I'm ready to pounce all over them. Okay? But some of them do come back and say, well, if you have time later today or tomorrow at this time, and I'll say, let me check my schedule, see what I can do, and I'll get back to them. Now I know they're really interested. Really interested. From there, we get on the call. And I'm going to keep it to 15 minutes or less. So I'm going to start right away, not with a lot of chit chat, but with, so I understand you were interested in my tips because, and I'm going to repeat back to them what they told me. And they're going to say yes, because I just gave them back their words, right? And then I'm going to give them a tip or two. I'm going to say, okay, well, here's another thing you could do based on this topic. So let's say I'm responding to somebody to this topic, and I would say, here's another tip. You want to make sure that you plan out your posts by their pain points. You want to know what their problems are so you can plan out your posts to give them that information. So on Mondays, maybe you talk about, if they're struggling to get leads, you talk about ways to get leads. And on Tuesday, if they're feeling like a fraud, you talk about mindset ways to feel more confident. See, I might give that person that tip, and maybe another if I can do it quickly. And then I would say to them, so was that helpful for you? Most likely they're going to tell me yes, they usually do. And I say, would it be of interest to you to know ways that you can get more tips from me like this? If they say yes, anybody who knows me knows that I use a scale called Stacy's Scale of Sales. And I'll say, okay, well, just out of curiosity, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being Stacy, I got to have more of your tips as fast as possible. And 1 is, I'm just being polite to you, Stacy. I'm not really interested. Where are you on the scale? Where are you on that scale? And they're going to give me a number. If they are anything less than a 9, I'm going to say, I understand that while you're interested, it's not really a priority for you to have these tips right now. No worries. Please continue to engage with my posts, or I have a group. If they're not already in the group, I'll remind them of the group that they can join the group for free. And I'm moving on because I'm not in the business to convince, plead, beg, or push anyone to buy from me. So if they're an 8 or less, they're not ready. But if they're a 9 or 10, I proceed in sharing with them what it is I have where they can work with me more closely. So I'm curious how many of you actually do have your own scale of sales, and you weed out folks so you're not put in the position of having to plead, beg, convince somebody as to why they should either buy your product or work with you. Well, it was really exceptional. Okay, thank you. Cecilia, I'm not, can you say more about the FOMO, please? Terry, I want to find out why they're interested in why I'm sharing my post. Yes. And Cecilia, a little more about why you think what I just shared was brilliant. So I'm going to open it up for complete questions now. I've just shared with you how to go beyond the likes with a few social media strategies. I promise you they work. I've been using them myself. I make sales every day. I add new folks every day. I would love to know what happens for you when you implement these strategies too. And in the meantime, I'll wait a moment to see if anybody has any comments or questions about anything related to social media marketing or content creation, any of that, before we wrap up. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to say to those of you watching, it's been a joy to be with you. I'm always wishing you an abundance of sales and satisfaction and success today, every day, every week, every month, every year, and for all the years to come. And I guess we're good. I've answered all the questions. People are out making content. So be well, everyone. See you next week. Bye.